Howdy, Beefalo Bart, and welcome back. Now, to take a look at what's going on with our animations, we want to look at our player animations rifle folder and our Polygon anim blueprint. I'll double click on it and open it up. And the reason why it's not working is because it's still trying to call to that other player character. So what I want to do is start off with, to get rid of here, I want to right click and I want to cast to player underscore base, which is my player character. If you're doing something different, then you need to select your own. Try get pawn owner needs to connect to the object on that. And then as player underscore base, we have jump button down, which we do not have in our player underscore base. So we need to come back over to our player underscore base and we need to add that. So to make sure we get it correctly, jump button down. If we look at the way it is in the other one, you can see that's where it was calling on its jump feature. Even though we don't truly need that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select jump button down. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to Control C. And now I can come back in here, create a new variable, Control V, and there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and hit compile and save. Now I can close player underscore base. So what I need to do now is tell it to jump button down, get jump button down. Actually, we need to set jump button down and connect that off to here. We see that it is not true, so now we need to connect the enable jump directly to that. We want to grab these two, get rid of them, and now we are casting to the correct character. So that will fix that portion of it. But again, we see where it's saying cast to that other player character. So we need to do the same thing. We need to, from try get pawn owner, we need to cast to player underscore base. Observe where it goes from and to. So we need to go ahead and grab from the set direction and then to the sequence node. And we have two things here, jump button down and crouch button down. I'm going to move them both to right here. I'm going to drag off from our player base, get jump button down, and I want to get crouch button down. And from here, now I want to link my jump button down with the can jump, and I want to link my crouch button down with set crouching. And now I can select here and these two, get rid of them, and that should fix the issue. So now if I compile and save, should be able to close that with no errors. Go ahead and hit play. And our crouch still isn't working. So let's find out why our crouch doesn't work. Alright, sorry about that. But yeah, the quick fix was to it was casting to character. So what I did was I changed that over from the try get pawn owner to cast to player underscore base. Same thing up here under movement, so that it correctly calculated my direction and speed. And here it helped to get that one set up as well. And by doing that and going in, I now have crouch working. Yay! And I can look around. I can jump. However, the jump animation is not correct right now. That's something we need to address also, but that one should not be near as bad. But now we have the ability to crouch. So let's take a look at that really quickly. We'll look at our animation blueprint again. For jump, it's jump button down, and again, let's go ahead and take a look at our character. The one that we modified had this set up for jump. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my player_base. And for jump, this is what was in it before. For a touch input. And I'm not using touchpads, so I'm not worried about that so much. But what I want to do is I want to grab this for jump. I'm going to bring it over here. We know our crouching is now working, so we're going to drag it over out of the way. And we're going to bring our jump, input action jump. Actually going to go ahead and delete it. And then Control V to paste in the new one. And use the jump from the other character. Now we've already made our jump button down variable. So this should, in theory, work. So now, if we go back in here and hit play, around, we actually have the correct jump animation now. And we can toggle to jump. Now, toggle for crouch at least. When you hold down the key to crouch, you crouch. When you let go, you stop crouching. Now, what if you don't want to constantly be holding down the C key? You want to be able to hit C and go into the crouch and then hit C again to come back out of it. So we've got here where it says pressed and released. So let's drag this out. Grab input action crouch. And we're going to go ahead and break the links on these two. Where it says pressed, we're going to come over and we're going to add in a flip flop. And not the stylish shoes. We're talking about this node right here. And when we hit it the first time, it's going to put us in crouch. We hit it again, it's going to take us out of crouch. So, that are that. So let's go ahead and hit compile and save. And let's give that a try. So now when we get into the game, we hit play, hit C, we crouch, and that's awesome. Now I hit C again, it comes away from crouching. So now we can be all stealthy and crouching and transition back and forth between the two. Alright, so that's awesome. We now have a city to run around in. We have an animation for being armed, and we have an animation for being unarmed. So for right now, we're going to go back into player_base, go back to our mesh, viewport. We're going to change our animation back over to the standard, which was Polygon and MVP. And this is our unarmed. Compile, save. And let's see if we can do this without screwing everything up. I'm going to get rid of Poly Rifle. We don't need you anymore. Goodbye. And on this right here, I want to try hitting F2 and Polygon _ rifle. So now let's go ahead and do a save all. We want to come into our player base. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to cycle between the armed and unarmed. And for now, just to show you how it actually works, I'm going to come in here and go to Edit, project settings, scroll down to input. We're going to add a new input. We're going to call this test key. And we're going to assign that keyboard delete. Because we're not going to leave this. We're just going to have this as our test key. So once we get done with our test on it, we can just delete that part of it and we'll go back over it again. So now with that, we want to type in test key. We want to go ahead and do flip flop so we can do a manual toggle. And then on the very first one, what we want to do is we want to set animation instance for the mesh. Okay, I'm going to kind of drag it over here just a little bit, and we're going to Control C, Control V. We're going to bring it off of B here, and we just want to go ahead and position these so that we don't need this extra mesh. Actually put it right here and branch it over to target. Now what we want to do is we want to search for Polygon rifle NMBB. Now on the other one we want to Polygon animation blueprint. So in theory, let's test that, see what we need to do. Scroll around, hit the delete key. There we go. So it changed it over. So what we'll end up doing is now we can cycle between the two animation. Alright, since I'm absolutely stupid and you guys let me do this. The animations. Rifle. Unarmed. So we need to have two here, and we call the unarmed rifle. So we need to go ahead and replace the rifle with unarmed. Alright, and we'll go back to the rifle one, and we're going to hit F2 on it. And then rifle underscore. So now we have a name on both of them, and we'll go ahead and hit save all. Should be fine. But let's go back into our blueprints, our player underscore base, and let's go ahead and switch these two around. So we want to change over to our rifle when we hit the button the first time. The second time, we want to change back to our unarmed. So now, since dyslexia has taken over and kind of screwed that up, so now we hit the delete key, it goes to the rifle, hit delete, and it goes back to unarmed. Beautiful. That's the way it's supposed to work. But hey, mistakes happen. Okay, so we don't want to keep that in here. So what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to go ahead and create the first pickups, and we will throw a couple weapons on the ground and allow our character to walk over the weapon, pick it up, and then we can go into the rifle animation once we have an actual rifle in our hands. Alrighty. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.